السلام عليكم جميعا. I think we can start right now. Thank you everyone for joining us today in email security webinar. I would like to introduce myself to you. I'm Abdullah Al-Ameri, Senior Cybersecurity Specialist from sirar Managed Security Services. And I would like welcome also to Hussein for joining us today. Thank you, Hussein, for your time today.
Thank you, Abdullah, and thank you for sirar family for their trust and such a service that they're providing of all ports in the kingdom in Arabia, and I'm part of dedicated managed service provider in Saudi Arabia.
Thank you very much, Hussein. Hussein is a major account manager from our strategic partner, Fortinet. Today, our agenda will be how the email risk is increasing last years and the different type of email threat, and also how we protect our customer from email threats, and why also sirar and with real-life email attack, and how we help our customer also to mitigate that attacks. And lastly, will be have the question and answer. First of all, we'll start to what is sirar. Sirar is one of STC subsidiaries dedicated for the cybersecurity services, given the fact behind STC, given the fact and the history behind STC, and it's a great contribution to the digital economy and the transformation. STC have been the first line of defense to cyber threats and still holds its mission to do. Our strategic goals is to lead the cybersecurity space in the Saudi and the region. Also hiring top-tier talent pool, our cybersecurity professional. Also our strategy, we are as a trusted partner to all the different type of business sectors in the kingdom, including government, public, and private sectors. We deliver our service on 4 core value. We take the quality of service very seriously with continued enhancement along the line. We make sure that we provide you with the best offering to be tailored for your business needs. And of course, we handle our customer with the best care possible by having monthly and quarterly service review and meetings. We are not tied to specific industry. We do serve industries of all types, including government, healthcare, financial, and much more. We are offering cybersecurity service under multiple domains, starting from the cyber advisory, which is a consultation and assessment, and also the professional service. Also the managed security service, which is operate and manage the security solution. The beauty thing behind sirar that we carefully study the market, then we design our portfolio to cover the most demand and critical cybersecurity service. Giving you a peace of mind and not to deal with multiple providers, and helping you to focus on your business, in your core business, and we do all the cybersecurity job for you. We are offering cybersecurity or the most cybersecurity service from end-to-end cybersecurity solution in one place. We are offering the DDoS protection up to 4 terabytes per second, which is the most DDoS protection infrastructure in the region. Also, we offering the web security solution, which is we are ensuring our customer is surfing the internet with high secure connection with advanced threat protection capability. As well, we have the email security as one of the most important security solution for any organization, which is we will conduct today, inshallah, in the next slide. The beauty thing behind or the beauty thing here is we have offering the vulnerability management and the penetration testing to ensure our customer assets are up to date and secure from known and unknown vulnerabilities, which is could may lead to exploitation by any threat actors. Also, we have the sign service, which is a public key infrastructure solution fully hosted in sirar data center that provide high secure electronic signatures to our customer. Also, we are providing managed security or managed security operations center, which is operate 24/7, which is monitoring and analysis our customer security event and logs. Also, our SOC is MSOC is fully hosted in sirar data center and comply with National Cybersecurity Authority regulation and policies. We extremely care of our customer from the start point of asset and consent, design and build and operate and manage the cyber security services. In sirar by STC, we are official partner with the leader of cybersecurity industry to deliver to our service or to our customer as our strategy. In sirar by STC, we are official partner with the leader of the cybersecurity industry to deliver our service to our customer as our strategy to hire top-tier cybersecurity professional. For sure, we have certified cybersecurity team with advanced technical skills in different area. Also, we develop our service to be hybrid, whether that is cloud-based or on-premise based. We are also honored to be authorized third-party auditor to the biggest oil company, which is Saudi Aramco. Also, please feel free to visit our website, sirar.com.sa, or our social media account to read more about our services. Here we have how the email risk is increasing and becoming one of the top threat factor. Email service a business critical tool for employees and for everyone. In fact, there are 5.6 billion of active email account worldwide, which is mean that we have everyone have more than one account. This account will be responsible for a collective 320 billion emails being sent daily in 2021. Meanwhile, we are seeing a shift in the service used by business sent email. Also, according to Gartner, 71% of the companies are using cloud or hybrid cloud email service for their employees. All of this mean that email is at the core of organization, their marketing, their effort, their discussion with the customer, prospects, and partner. Email is not going anyway, and without email, business cannot be external and internal communication done. In Verizon's latest data breach investigation report in 2021, the use of misunderstanding or the misrepresentation in social engineering related incidents jumped to 15-fold. Phishing as a percent of breach rose staggering 36%, largely as a result of the COVID pandemic, up from 25% to the prior year. Meanwhile, Verizon cites that if 58% of business email compromise attacks where threat actor impersonate an executive or other leader to trick subordinate employees and to taking some type of action were successfully. Meanwhile, when it's come to spoils of their efforts, threat actors stole the credential in 58% of breach. This is troublesome as it allows threat actors to then access them and then move around the network posing as a legitimate user. In the end, breach can have a substantial impact on organization, large and small, to the tune of 3.9 million of average worldwide. Email-based attacks do not target easy individual users or small organizations only. Some of the largest corporations in the world have reported email-based attacks, and data breach, and many international law enforcement organizations like the Interpol have highlighted the risk as well. Recently, cyber criminals focus on phishing attacks on 70% of with the harvesting the user credential. As we have Acer IT company hit by $50 million of ransomware. Also, one area that is very important to discuss today, as well as the use of cloud-based email service. According to Gartner, that estimates that as much as 71% of the organization are using cloud-based email service today, mostly Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace cloud service. Organizations no longer have to maintain mail exchange infrastructure in their own environment, updating, including critical batch. All that work are offloaded to the vendor to perform, and pricing can be advantaged through bundle offering. As a part of the ongoing shift, Gartner also estimates that by 2023, as many as 40% of the organization will using the native built tools available on these services. However, this is where IT and security teams need to be asked tough questions on their efficacy of these tools to protect against the various email-based threats. Right now, we will go with Hussein with how effective are the native built email security tools. And Hussein, mic is yours.
Thank you, Abdullah. As you rightly said, organizations should really consider and double check the efficacy of these native built-in tools, especially that you said 71% of the organizations depend on these cloud-based email services. And keeping in mind that these organizations don't have cybersecurity as their core business. So let's take a look at a comparison done by an independent third party, which is the SE labs, which are very known in the domain for performing comparison tests. And they have tested a number of vendors, including Fortinet, Microsoft 365 Exchange Online Protection, Microsoft 365 Defender, as it's currently being known as well. And both Microsoft variants of native security controls have scored a low total accuracy of 28 and 29%, as you see in the bottom of the table. Now, if we go to Google Workspace, which was previously known as Google G Suite, it has scored a slightly stronger accuracy and efficacy rate of 39%. Now, compare that to Fortinet, for instance. It has scored 90% total accuracy and earned a AAA rating, which is, by the way, SE's lab's highest rating. So if you compare dedicated email security solutions to those that are natively built within cloud services, I think the testing results are quite clear, and the gap in the numbers of the results is quite revealing. Now, such reports, what should we take out of them? I will highlight two things. Now, it is evident that organizations need to complement or replace the native security controls available with these in these cloud-based services with solutions from pure play security organizations, Fortinet and others. And that organizations, IT team and security team within organizations, should really verify the accuracy and effectiveness of these native built tools and depend on reports such as SE Labs or other third-party testers to make sure that all the controls they've put in place from the cloud email service providers are really effective. Back to you, Abdel.
Thank you, Hussein. In order to understand what's the job required to really secure the email, let's first take a look at the type of threats, the type of the email threats. Phishing, actually, it's a broad term for the attack sent to multiple people in a bid to ensure as many victims as possible. Spear phishing is a cyber attack method that hackers use to steal sensitive information or install malicious links or malicious files on the devices of specific victim. Also, the spear phishing attacks are highly targeted and hugely effective and difficult to prevent. As we have also the wire link is that target the CEOs and other executive. As such, individual typically do not have access to sensitive corporate data, and the risk reward is dramatically higher. Wiling is for advanced criminal organizations that have the resource to execute this form of attack. Now we will go with Hussein to the business email compromise attacks and techniques.
Well, you previously said that business email compromise attacks, when surveyed by the FBI, I think in 2019, 58% of these attacks were successful. I think this is truly alarming. And that's why we want to focus a little bit on business email compromise. So let's understand what's business email compromise, or as it's known currently as BEC. BEC attacks are designed to impersonate senior executives. These are CEOs, CFOs, highly ranked employees in a company, to trick their team members or subordinates, or even this organization's partners, vendors, or customers, into, for instance, transferring payments for the goods and services exchanged between these two organizations to an alternative bank account. Again, according to the FBI's 2019 Internet Crime Report, BEC scams were the most damaging and effective type of cybercrime in 2019. It is definitely forms the highest return on the attackers or hackers' effort as well as investment, because the gains out of a BEC attack way outperforms the efforts required to perform it. Now let's consider a few important things about business email compromise. Business email compromise might not involve any type of malicious software, malware, or a malicious link. So it doesn't really require much development or sophisticated techniques or skills to be performed. Part of the actor success is that, and this is part of the social engineering and psychological effect, is that they are playing on a power relationship. While emails that come usually from high-ranking officers in an organization are dealt with in urgency and priority by their team members. So it's very unlikely that an email coming from a CFO or a CEO in an organization to be basically dealt with less care or kept for a longer wait time. Now, the most important techniques in BEC is domain spoofing. Domain spoofing is basically when an email domain pretends to be a legitimate email domain, or what is called a cousin domain. This can trick the users into believing that the sender is legitimate, being an employee of this company. And thus, it's very important that organizations not only protect their incoming email. Organizations have the responsibility of protecting or securing their outgoing email traffic as well. So your outgoing email traffic is not the problem of the recipient end. It is your problem as well, because internal emails, if passed on to your employees, might cause high damage and harm as well. What are attackers who use business email compromise looking for mainly? What are the gains that they're attempting to get? Credentials, definitely, where credentials will give the attackers great access into the organization's infrastructure. Money is a very big, or payments, so outright money value, dollar value, real value, through account access or encouraging wire transfers to alternative accounts. It could definitely exploit leadership relationships. It could exploit or damage the organization's reputation as well greatly, a relationship with vendors, with consumers, with customers alike. What is required then in this case to guard against business email compromise? As a rule of thumb, security awareness is the #1 guard against all solutions put aside. Security awareness is the #1 guard or security measure to protect organization from all sorts of attacks. Organizations can use phishing simulation software, for instance, educate their employees into a very basic rule of thumb when receiving any email, which is stop, look, and verify. So they could check for display names, the domain name correctly, evaluate, even if possible, the recency of the domain registration, which cannot be done manually. Indicators in the body of the email that might alarm you, like detecting a malicious link, check the reply to address, for instance. Now, security awareness aside, which is very important, but each organization should make sure it has the right tools and solution in place to guard against BEC. So most importantly, you have to have the right email security controls in place for both your incoming as well as your outgoing traffic. Abdullah, shall I go through looking into how sirar is securing email service for organizations of all verticals and all backgrounds in the kingdom? Let's take a look at sirar's answer to all these threats that were mentioned. So sirar, in partnership with Fortinet, provides advanced protection against the full spectrum of email-based threats, including phishing, spear phishing, spam, targeted attacks, ransomware, impersonation, and last but not least, business email compromise attacks. This comprehensive coverage is offered through a solid email security as a service offering. Now, it is based on what we saw previously, Fortinet's highly ranked FortiMail email security gateway, which consistently earns high marks in independent testing. FortiMail specifically, and in Fortinet in general, we believe in a security fabric approach, which is called by Gartner as the security mesh. Email security is not done in isolation. So to counter the growing sophistication of threats and multi-vector campaigns, that covers the rest of the infrastructure, indicators of compromise and other threat intelligence feeds and telemetry can be shared across security platforms for enhanced security. This helps identify multi-vector campaigns, especially by those sophisticated actors. And this service will relieve you as an organization, your IT teams and security teams, from performing intensive and repetitive workflows, including the response to such attacks, which significantly reduces the burden from you as an organization or from your IT teams to allow you to focus on your core business. Now, having said that, let's take a look at all the mitigation techniques. Abdullah, shall we go through the mitigation techniques, please? Okay. So FortiMail email security gateway that is operated by sirar provides an advanced protection against the full spectrum of email-borne threats, as we said. Phishing, spear phishing, spam, targeted attacks, ransomware, impersonation, and BEC. It is very important to identify and deal with the building blocks of these threats that the threat actors uses. Each one of these threat types have important building blocks to be able to basically build such an attack or prepare an attack. There are content-based, such as what you see with spam, for instance, or simple phishing. There is attachment-based, such as an email having a malware, including 0-day, and we will come to what 0 days attacks are, or URL-based, which might have and contain a malicious link in the email. What you see here on the slide is all of the integrated capabilities that FortiMail uses to deliver on the email security performance that organizations need. FortiMail is seamlessly integrated into the security fabric or security mesh, trying in with critical capabilities such as sandboxing, which is critical to guards against zero-day attacks. Zero-day attacks are those attacks that does not have any related indicators to previously. No one have seen a threatening IP address or a malicious IP address, that IP address before. No one have seen this file or this file signature. So most probably with zero-day attacks, if successful, this organization will be the very first organization that will be faced with this attack. Thus the name zero-day. Now let's take a look at, Abdullah, if you please go through the threat mitigation number 1, please. Back to it. Yes, thank you. So let's take a look at the content-based threats, including spam and phishing. And although not a threat, harmless spam, or what is called gray email, like newsletters and all these distribution lists, they might not be harmful, but they are definitely annoying and time-consuming for employees and the organization. Features such as the URL filtering powered by FortiGuard Labs, the threat intelligence powerhouse. Spam content detection and IP reputation is detected, as well as methods such as double-checking SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, which really authenticates the domain that is basically the sender of these emails. This allows the organization, allows you to deal quickly with big number of scam or volumetric scam, and to save you time to effort to deal with this huge number of emails. Now there are increasingly highly evasive spam campaigns. You need features, more sophisticated features, such as behavioral analysis that will look at the spam, which is similar to recent campaign based on fuzzy matching and AI method, fuzzy matching technology, and outbreak protection will temporarily buffer suspicious email with data analytics that is used by FortiGuard again to do network statistics to detect if the email is part of a wider globally coordinated spam campaign. These methods allow sirar, powered by their email security gateway by Fortinet, to be one of the highest rated secure email security as a service services on the market. And this is according to independent third-party testers. Let's go to Abdullah to mitigation type number 2. Now, previously, everybody was alarming against .exe files. These days were long gone. It doesn't really need an .exe file to be able to perform a malicious attack. Files such as Office documents, PDF files, can all now abuse or infect an unwary user. What's the answer to that? No, FortiMail uses multiple levels of threat prevention to detect and prevent such threats. Based on the threat intelligence from FortiGuard Labs, which is key, it makes use of antivirus engine to scan and detect known and previously unseen malware via the file signatures, which can detect whole families of malware and via heuristic detection. So signatures allows the security gateway to be able to match files, even if not seen previously, through their signature to what could be files that were malicious and identified as malicious and have been seen before. Again, very importantly, now one user has been attacked. The outbreak protection through the organization or towards other organizations is very important as well. So you need to compare the attachments against, and this takes a real-time threat intelligence database. So it gathers all this information globally and detects this newly fresh information from this threat intelligence database. if any fast propagation is attempted, or an attachment that is being fastly propagated is being sent from a non-spam ID, it quickly steps in to prevent this from propagating further. At this point, the security fabric or security mesh, as Gartner identifies this, comes into play. Files can be sent files can be sent to further investigation, which the sandboxing capability. Sandboxing really checks the file, attempts to execute the file as if it was a normal user, and assess the result of basically the how malicious this file is. If all has passed, if all these checks has passed, and still you as an organization want to be still further security more conscious, content disarm and reconstruction can be used as well. So you can remove macros, scripts, active codes, attachments, and URLs altogether from the beginning, from Office and PDF documents, to prevent them from being used as carriers of threats into the net. Now, if we look at threat mitigation number 3. Usually, attackers do lots of reconnaissance. So if they find out that there is a robust filtering within that organization's email security capability that is in place, they try usually to pivot, so try to bypass this. So they bypass URLs and hope they can bypass security by linking it to the email body with a call to action. For example, an email containing click here for further discount or click here to win a prize. Again, FortiMail, Sirar's email security gateway, has multiple levels of URL threat prevention. FortiMail checks all URLs against the threat intelligence labs and blocks all known malware and phishing content. Additionally, filters can be employed for certain type of non-business content or even harmful content, like adult websites, for instance, as well as newly registered domains as well, which are usually set up and used to attack organizations, which prevents new phishing sites from being exploited. Previously mentioned, for the outbreak and propagation detection, the outbreak detection will identify new propagating threats, and content disarm and reconstruction can remove linked URLs. Now, again, having all of this said, all of these techniques used, you have a final resort as well, which is the sandbox that will invasively check the files and URLs, again, the zero-day attacks. Let's move on, please, Abdullah. Now, as a final layer of protection, it is focused on the highly targeted attacks, which are, as mentioned previously, business email compromise. These attacks are commonly targeted at high-value targets within the organization. So C-level, high-ranking officers, CEOs, CFOs, ministers in some cases, and people with ability to sign off financial transfers or basically approve critical organizational information or exchange. Usually these individuals have privileged access to information. Now, features such as impersonation detection can be used to stop emails pretending to be from the VIP users, the CEO or CFO, within the organization. And it can check if this is originated from within the organization or from outside the organization. Abdullah, let's see, why did Sirar choose FortiMail by Fortinet to base its email as a service email security gateway on? Fortinet have always believed in using third-party testing to prove value to customers. And as you can see, if you go to the previous slide, Abdullah, please. Fortinet received high marks, including a 99% malware detection rate from ICSA labs, AAA validation from SE labs. So if this 99.9 if you compare it to Microsoft's and 29% Microsoft's built-in Office 365 security, or Google Workspace 39% score, I think the difference is quite clear to you. Now, all these reports, if you want to verify them further, if you want to understand why sirar is basing its service on Fortinet's Fortimail, please feel free to ask for these reports. They're available and they're public reports. So, for sirar's secure email gateway, you can rest assured that it's the highest rated secure email gateway out there. And you gain this benefit as an organization without having to go through a big capital expenditure to obtain such a solution, as well as having to go through the burden of operating such a solution. Thank you, Abdullah. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Hussein, for your time. Actually, why sirar? Maybe the question will be in mind any of us. As you know, sirar, we have the managed security services operate 24/7 with full visibility and control to all our customers. As you know, the email service is one of the critical email service for any organization, which is for the communication with the outside the organization should be 24/7. Also, the email security gateway can be integrated with any type of email servers, whether on-prem or cloud-based. Also, we have the capability in sirar email security gateway to protect from the which is the advanced threat resistance group, which is highly targeted to the organization, which is difficult to protect from these, especially these groups. Also, our product is fully comply with the NCA regulation and compliance. Also, we have dedicated reporting portal for our customer. As you know, the email service is a critical tool to be maintain and review the logs monthly based or quarterly based. Also, we have different advanced protection solution with the different levels of the email security gateway. As we have here different packages on the email security gateway, you can feel free, please, to take a screenshot from this slide and the difference between the packages and the features. Okay, now we will move with Hussein to the real life of ransomware attack and how the sirar email security gateway helps to mitigate and prevent the attacks to deliver to the endpoint.
Thank you, Abdullah. This is a real-life ransomware attack example, just to put things in perspective. We can move, Abdullah, please. So this is actually a real-life customer or organization in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, in the insurance and reinsurance industry. And this occurred somewhere in Q2 of 2020. So right towards the beginning, early days, I would say, or early days of the COVID pandemic, when it just got really intense. So what was the attack vector used? Definitely it was based on it's an email-based attack. So it used phishing to deliver a ransomware through it. Now this organization size to understand the effects of such attacks. Relatively, 100 employees would make it a medium organization. ID department side is just 2 persons. However, they managed to affect 60 endpoints, including the servers, which is huge for an organization of such size. It took a downtime of 6 days, and you can imagine for any business, any organization in any industry, how 6 days of downtime impact the business and the organization's reputation. What did they need to restore or to recover from this attack? They depended on offline backup. Offline backup, because even the online backup was targeted by the ransomware. So you can imagine how this ransomware was successful in penetrating the IT infrastructure. Estimated losses is at multi-million riyals. For confidential purposes, we will not post the number. More than the financial impact, there was a regulatory impact as well. As you understand, someone working in the financial industry is highly regulated by SAMA, for instance. So such a breach, they nearly made them lose their license. Complaints definitely have came from all their partners, their customers, as well as their providers. Now, let's take a look at the cause and what could have been the solution. What was the customer status previous to the attack? They did not really have a proper email security protection. They were depending on third parties. Now, depending on native tools that are provided by the email service provider. The internal network security protection wasn't really there as well. So even beyond email, internally, they did not really have the right security protection. They couldn't check or stop or verify the ransomware download that didn't have proper web filtering. They could have updated the offline backup to minimize the data loss or minimize the data that was lost during these 6 months. Now, the solution could have been basically using an email security gateway from a service email, especially for a small organization or medium organization of that size. If they could not obtain their own email security gateway, they could have used email security as a service from a pure player cybersecurity managed service providers like sirar, for instance. Internal security is definitely still very important, but to have the ability as well to filter and check the file. Again, advanced threat protection through sirar's sandboxing capability, for instance, could have been a solution. Definitely, it's not just about technology. Procedures are very important as well. So the update of backups, the restore policy and testing for backups is always important. So this is just one live example that didn't happen far away from us. It happened right in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And you can see the damages of such attack.
Thank you, Sam. Finally, we'd like to hear from you. If you have, please, any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Mubin. So now, 0 days attacks are detected by 2 methods. Definitely, sandboxing is the most important capability because it's inline, done in near real time. I mean, it's a matter of seconds to spin off the right environment to run this file or check for the URL. And what sirar hosts is one of the most capable sandboxing solutions around. And the other thing is by basically behavioral analysis. As we said, the FortiGuard Labs doesn't just contain IOCs, or it depends on IOCs or file signatures. It does have its own behavioral signatures as well, and you have to bear in mind that FortiGuard Labs have 10 billion or processes 10 billion feeds per day, which makes it one of the largest in the world. And it gets these feeds across not just from email threats, it gets it from firewalls, web application firewalls, the entire security fabric of Fortinet solutions. And all of these feeds feed into basically intelligence information. that could be based on IOC signatures as well as heuristic and behavioral detection techniques as well, with lots of AI. One thing that you might not know about Fortinet, actually Fortinet is, and this is something that is done in the background, Fortinet is one of the most capable or dependent or cybersecurity companies that utilizes AI capabilities, and they're quite advanced, especially in the FortiGuard lab. So sandboxing and behavioral detection prevents zero-day.
Yes, yes, thank you, Ibrahim, for your question. Yes, for sure, sirar email security solution is hosted fully in sirar data center and comply with the National Cybersecurity Authority located in sirar data center. And all our customer data for sure is under the NCA regulation and compliance.
I might add, Abdullah, yes, and including sandboxing. Yes. So everything is hosted within the kingdom at Sirar's own data site. Nothing leaves, no file, no URL, no customer information leaves Sirar's data center. It's all hosted
there. Yes, actually, thank you, Khalid, for your question. Yes, for sure, our service is it can be we can integrate with any email exchange servers, whether that is cloud based or on-prem based. We have this scenario is already implemented with our existing customer. sirar basically email security gateway is the gate for our customer. We filter the content in the email before it reach our customer servers. For sure, we can integrate with whether that is cloud-based or on-prem based.
Okay. Mr. Muhammad Azam asked on the shorten or redirect URLs. Yes, it has the capabilities to track URLs, especially if these URLs were basically detected and sent to the sandbox. It has the ability as well to track the URLs. Mr. Amar, is antivirus scan done by email security servers or sent to FortiGuard? The antivirus scan is done on the email security gateway itself that is hosted within Sirar. FortiGuard just provides the email security gateway with the feeds, with threat intelligence feeds, signatures, required IOCs, basically to detect these viruses. So, especially as I said, 10 billion processed feeds every day. So the chance of the email security gateway detecting the virus is really high to start with based on the feeds received. And then if it was not detected as well, we have the second layer, which is the sandboxing.
Also, Hussein, if you allow to me add the
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, the FortiGuard is basically the security research lab for the Fortinet, and we collect the data or the signatures for the antivirus and different security engine from the FortiGuard lab. Yes, I think Yasin, you are raising your hand. Please, you can open your mic.
السلام عليكم، شكرا جزيلا على المعلومات. بس عندي سؤال بخصوص I will convert in English, sorry. In regard to the on-premise solution for email security, first question, do you have team support physically available in all regions within Saudi Arabia or in specific regions, especially in Jeddah, Eastern Province? Second question is related to email security. Suppose that we will have email gateway from you. So do we need also to have email security on top of Exchange, or email gateway will be enough for securing our emails? This is the two questions only.
Yes, thank you, Yasin, for your question. Yes, actually, for sure, sirar is our email security service is hosted inside the country, Saudi, and our team is working for 24/7. And our service, email security gateway, is cloud-based service. We can integrate with you without need to the physical side or any integration with the physical component. For the second question, actually, the Sirar Email Security Gateway is the gate for our customer, and you don't need to build also a second gateway in your environment. Our email security gateway will take care of all the content which is received or sent by your Exchange server before received to the recipient from your side. Please feel free to ask any question.
Mr. Azam was asking, will FortiMail scan such final URL of the shortened URL against static signatures list, or will evaluate them in case they 0-day? Both, Mr. Azam. Basically, for the phishing website, it performs both, and based on the security controls enabled, you can guarantee that it is being evaluated as well, not just based on static signatures list. Mr. Mustafa, what about internal email sent from one user to another internally, hence may not pass through the email security cloud service? Mr. Mustafa, there are multiple ways of doing this based on the configuration, and I would really encourage you to contact Sarar's team, and specifically the systems engineering team, which will be helping your account manager to basically lay down to you the various options. But this is definitely something that is configurable to ensure even internal emails are protected. If a file was flagged by antivirus scan as benign, but a new signature received from FortiGuard that the file is malicious, will notification be sent to users about this? Further propagation of the files will definitely be stopped. So it is very unlikely that a virus will hit one user and it will stop there. It will attempt to further propagate. Now, if there was another attempt, the users will be notified about this attempt, that is a known virus that was detected. From previous logs, but this is now manual response and detection, if an investigation is required, so our team can go back to the previous logs to check if there was such a compromise that occurred, or what this was the first incident. Now, again, what we were saying at the beginning is that with the accuracy of 99.9% stopping malware, it's because we don't just depend on signatures to detect viruses and malwares. There are multiple layers of protection, from base IOC's signature, behavioral stamps of the file. So files, even if they did not have a signature from the lab, if it just had this behavioral stamp, which is detected, it will be identified as well. So most viruses will, even if different, will contain certain trends or certain sequences, because they attempt to perform the same thing, command and control usually. So this will be detected. If not, there is sandboxing as well as a second layer, our third layer. So now this, other than checking the URL IP reputation and impersonating the domain, so you have multiple layers. So a virus that is well designed to perform as a virus, the likelihood if it hits the organization, even if there is no signature have seen, is basically 0.01%, according to third-party testers. how will you evaluate the phishing websites which needs actual user interactions? Okay, and this, Mr. Azam, I think as well. Thank you for your questions. Thank you everyone for your questions. They're all great questions, definitely. Mr. Azam, I think you really should have, because your questions are quite thorough, and I appreciate that. One thing I can think of on top of my head is basically the content. So it has enough intelligence to check content of the phishing website and alarms based on basically what is intended. What basically there is a content recognition on whether it is supposed to behave as a phishing website. But again, I'd be very happy to provide you with further information.
Thank you, Hussein. Actually, Hussein, for the slide, actually it is internally slide between Fortinet and sirar, but you can reach us and we can provide you any information that you need, or we can arrange a meeting one-to-one and we can discuss more. And please feel free to ask any question that is we can help you.
FortiMail integrate with SMIME certificates to validate sender's fingerprint. I honestly, I don't have this information readily available with me. I made a note of taking your question, Mr. Zaid, and questions from Mohammed Azam. And please, anyone who thought I did not really provide a comprehensive answer, please write your answers again, and we'll make sure we get back to you by email. Mr. Zaid, I'll definitely make sure you get this information back.
Yes, please, Azam. Please, if you have any question, Azam, you can add more details about the questions.
So, Mr. Mohammed Azam, so for mail signing, so FortiMail uses basically the known protocols of SPF and DKIM to basically for outgoing emails authentication. However, digital signing the outgoing emails is not something that is done by the email security gateway.
Okay, I think we come to the end of our webinar today. I would like to welcome everyone join us today, and welcome also. Thank you also, Hussein, for your time today, and all of you. We hope you enjoy with us, and please feel free to scan the QR and reach us on our social media channels.
Thank you, Abdullah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Hussein. Thank you, everyone.